that champion of the West Division for the last 2 years. Head-to-head, last year was in the conference championship game, so you see the trajectory of the program continues to rise. Then we have also assistant coach, wide receiver coach, Coach Moore. I'm blessed to say that you don't always have an opportunity where he's dynamic with those coaches out there, but I'm a little biased, I will admit. My nephew actually joined the fold and is out there working, and as you know, Coach, I don't talk about anything about playing time. I'm just glad that you're on the team. He did have 2 big catches and sealed the victory in all forms. That ultimately was the difference in terms of us getting to the championship. So he did his part in terms of his key. But give a shout out to Reggie Moore, who put in the labor work. The Nicktoons of UCLA in terms of that, both of them earning their degrees in terms of when they got done. He's coached Pac-10, Pac-12, as it is, moving through the ranks, different levels, different positions. So you have some dynamic people here in terms of what they've been able to do on that side. We also have somebody outside of that box that can talk to us as we talk about our athletes in transition. He's done it at the highest level across his career in terms of what he did at Texas. This is when Texas was in the Southwest Conference and all this conference training. So I'm not even sure where you know where they are at that fact. Well, SEC, yeah. But he's getting it done in terms of Mr. Brian Jones. He's transitioning successfully in a lot of ways. It's probably for a lot of individuals know him more in terms of what he's been able to do with CBS in terms of television network inside the college football today. I personally take the privilege and say the work that you've done on this show in terms of educating people, and then also being able to entertain people at that level is second to none. So we appreciate having your presence in terms of talking to us about what it is and really chance to talk about the landscape from a bigger macro level versus what we see here, but I think gives us a chance to educate our fans too. So again, if you would, put your hands together for this dynamic conversation. So you see, I like to entertain my world. The other jacket on there.
What can Brown do for you? And I just want to let just Renita know, who, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be on the panel, and this is a great trip to the Bahamas, but I'm a Panther as well, maybe not a Prairie View Panther, but Lubbock Dunbar Panthers, my high school, so I could have been in the photo with that. Thank you, I appreciate it. And Reggie and I go way back. I'm just taking over your damn show. You left out a whole lot of information. I want to get on the record. I've been knowing this one here since we were freshmen at UCLA, Reggie and I. And of course, we watched Bubba and the U when they were to do their thing. Reggie and I go way back from our freshman years at UCLA prior to me transferring to the University of Texas. We were roommates, and that's family. So he and Miss Anita and their entire family, Reggie's mom, Norma, and his mom. So it's great to be on the panel with him and clearly or obviously see the success he's had in coaching. He's always had that game face, so he needed to coach. He got me money down.
And you kind of stole some of that thunder and you heard it, so I'm glad that we did that in terms of asking questions that we may not know, and so you shared that. But you made that in terms of the family. Let's start with you in terms of personal. What's a side of you that we don't really get based on reading your bio and seeing you on television?
Certified. I think it's all out there for the public to see. This is how, if you've watched us on Saturdays on CBS Sports, College Football Daily. You've watched our show on Tuesday nights inside college football on our cable network, CBS Sports Network. This is how we get down. You're going to get all your college football news. We go deep, and I work with, then I was playing, whether it was collegiate or at the NFL level, and we have fun together. And what I just did with Reggie, that's what we do with each other. And that's why it genuinely resonates with the audience, because you're going to get everything you want as far as your college football fix, but we're going to have a damn good time. And so I put everything out there, and that's just the only way I know how to do it. It's just showing who you are, and people tell me, you're the same person as you are. I have no idea how to do it any other way, man. And it's easy. And a good friend of mine told me, shut up. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
Yeah.
So that's how.
Coach Moore, I'm gonna come to the end. I'll come to you. Yeah, exactly. With that being said, we don't really get to interact, somewhat maybe with the head coach, not so much with the assistant coaches. We get to see you when you on the ground and you really getting out there trying to get it done, making plays, and making sure the players know what's going on here and there. But if you would share with us a little more, we got a glimpse in terms of the brotherhood and the partnership that we would have folks that love on you in regards to who you are. Give us a chance to really understand what is something that we don't know about you.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that, one, I've been a part of PV since probably 1976. Obviously, she's kind of been my role model, my oldest grandchild. So, she kind of set the bar for us, and it's kind of taking her father to take that model and make sure my academics was right, and obviously athletic stuff. But I think the biggest thing for me is that, like Brian said, it's just genuine football, the love, it's a family. I've been knowing Coach McDowell probably since the 80s. As a teammate from high school to the youth. So I used to hang out down there on my spring breaks. Okay. So we've been kind of knowing each other, and I think the testament to a good head coach is his support staff. Right. So if we have a good support staff, I think that resonates through the whole program. But the biggest thing for me is I still love the game. I grew up in it. My dad played 11 years in the NFL with the Houston Royals. The love was also part of that. So it's easy for me, and I try to make sure I keep that perspective for the guys that I recruit and coach. It's a game that teaches you about life. So the biggest thing for me is to make sure that the stuff that I went through and I lived through, I try to give back to them and let them understand that this is a big picture.
Coach McDowell, for a lot of us, we think we know you. Either really from our living room in terms of watching you on Sundays, as they would say, if not back in the birth from Saturdays with you, when the you was the you thinking. I like this. I'm probably right. With that being said, please, if you would share something that may surprise us or something that we just like. Who is it?
Well, I'm very simple, very laid back guy. Don't talk a lot. That's been me for a long time. I guess if there's anything that's surprising about me is that again, that as of late, I became this baker, this pound cake baker on campus, and started again like I was at Wilkes, coaching there, and into a baking contest. Put the pound cake in there, won first prize, and it's been on ever since.
I can't make it. I can, but
share?
Well, I just watched Coach from afar and was always a fan of his play. And of course, when he went to the Oilers, I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan, but don't let my talk interfere with your interruption. It was gonna get better. Lifelong Cowboys fan, but I would cheer for the Oilers. And so, if that's possible, I guess you can do both. So I've watched him when he was at the U and a fabulous player, and watched him in his NFL career. And now to see him as with Reggie transition to the coaching profession, knowing what type of players they were, it just makes perfect sense for them to be in this ecosystem because of the way they went about their business as players, and seeing Reggie firsthand work. It just makes perfect sense. It's a great alignment for both, and the way they carry themselves and the way they push themselves, I think that is going to be a great benefit to the charges that they're now leading.
Before we get a little more of the business, more of the mother, I don't want you to do too much, but tell us something about it. Something like that. I don't know, it's game day, so the road trip.
Remember this still important. He's the boss. You know, just being a man of faith, you gotta try some humor. You know, come at you with a couple of jabs here. You know, we kind of go to the same church, so you know, he's a great guy, but yeah, but try some humor. Sometimes they'll jab at you, but the biggest thing is give you a shirt off the back. You know, he's that kind of person. Anytime you need, he's very understanding. It's called. A lot of places, the quality of life and coaching is not good. Okay? You may get paid, you may have money, but the quality of life is what is the sustainable part of it that helps you prolong your career. It doesn't burn you out. So I think that's probably the biggest attribute, is that he allows the coaching staff to have a quality of life. He's been there, he's done it, he understands that. If you don't have family, you don't have nothing. So
Let's start from this level. Let's get into some of this recruiting talk from your perspective. You know, what does that look like in terms of that? I know you coach wide receivers. Is that the only component that you recruit, or do you recruit more side of that? This is for everybody out there trying to learn a little about the inside of football more than what we do when we go to games.
Well, you know, primarily I'm a wide receiver coach, but you start off with an area that you get. Okay, we try to divide the state, you know, by areas. So you kind of recruit your area first. Now that may be, for me, is, you know, the 59 corridor from south to north. So I may hit HISD, schools all up and up and down in New Jersey. So depending on your area, you recruit your area first, and that may entail all positions. So you try to get the information from the high school coaches and do your homework. And I like to cross-check. I've been recruiting these people forever. I've been coaching 20 plus years. So if you're good at doing your area, you kind of get that part nailed down first. And you bring that information back. And then at some point when we're off the road recruiting was at the end of spring ball, from like in the April to May, the end of May. So we come back and we get together as a staff, and everybody kind of gathers in areas and kind of watch me as a staff on each position and the guys that are in the area. And so from there, we kind of collectively agree on what we like and what we pursue. And then for me, I personally like to divide up all the position guys. It's the O-line, I give the O-line coach all the guys that I think the Bible, and so on and so forth. And from there, we kind of get a list of the guys that we want to really get and pursue. The dynamics has changed, obviously, with the NIL. So now it's a little more financially involved in a lot of these places. It's not all about just academic side, plus getting great education and good experience. Now, you have to factor in some of these schools are playing a big role too. So, that's part of the dynamics of it also.
Yeah, and we'll get a little deeper dive in that, they'll, like I said, we'll get a chance to do different perspectives of what it looks like. I want to know that you could make that in terms of that, what I've seen in the past, and we have changed, so correct. You have the recruiting boards, positions, top threes or whatever. Does Coach Moore lean on you more to try to push these guys up the chart?
All the time.
So how do you handle
You
these
get very upset when you don't agree with it.
But then, I got the line,
But that's the point we have in that recruitment. Like you said, when they are the role, we bring everybody back in, we tally them from top to bottom, and we'll look at it in every position as a group. And, we'll decide, and I usually get everybody's opinion, on every position, but more so the guys the position that they coach, they gonna have what to say about it. And I look at that totally. So again, I always tell them, okay, now, if somebody just say, for instance, somebody that I kind of question about that he likes, and okay, now you're gonna stand on the table for, you gotta be really good. That's right. Next thing come out now is with your job.
Hello, I said that. Hello, Rudy.
I don't see what you see. I would imagine being an all-pro defensive back, you overrule your DB coach all the time.
Yeah, I try to. I got a safety coach, Ryan Burke, and I got Dan, he was the corners coach. They took it together. And I know when they look at each other, I look up there and I start shaking my head. And I see them looking at each other, I know they both come through and say, okay, he's finna get rid of this guy, let's stay together. But yeah, it's a fun room, we have fun with it, and again, it's just all about us getting the right guy in the position that we need to help him win games. So at the end of the day, too, I always tell my guys, look, man, treat your players how you want to be treated, players treat others how they want to be treated. Let's all just get along, and if we can continue to do that, we're going to win championships. But more importantly, I know Coach Byron said earlier, about the different dynamics, the different coaching styles of the kids generation today. Now, I'm not that guy. I'm going to go. I'm going to come at you. I'm going to come at you with a little help for it, maybe. But at the same time, it's football. I was on the next stage for 2 years, so I trust me. One of the greatest coaches ever coached the game. Being able to play underneath it. I taken things from different coaches across my years. But one thing I do believe, and I always tell my coaches, you're going to tear these guys down. At some point, you got to build some back up. Don't let them leave that in.
You get to see it from a different perspective. Interviewing and talking about players, but there's a lot of interaction that I imagine that you get prepped for an interview to try to talk to coaches and see more about players that you're in. Talk a little bit about from the media perspective of how do you talk with the coach to get the information to transmit it to the public in an
Well, you have to, and it goes for players, certain players as well. So I can't just pull a teeth. Some are not as forthcoming. So my philosophy is to try to generate a conversation about other things off the field, because you want your subject to be comfortable. And then I can hit them with a 60-minute question. No, it's just building a rapport. We used to have the Heisman guys on our set before ESPN took over everything, and they said, we don't think that they should go talk to those CBS guys. And every kid is different. We had Baker Mayfield, this guy bouncing off the wall, so he was going to be easy. Then I've got Lamar Jackson over here, and again, it's like pulling teeth, and one word answers, very introvert, and so in those bright lights, they can shock a few folks when you get in the studio and it's live television. And try to impress upon them that, hey, the camera's your friend, just talk to me, don't worry about that camera, we just having a conversation. So you gotta do your homework, you definitely gotta research. I'm heading Monday to Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Day. CBS is no longer carrying the SEC, we're now partners with the Big Ten exclusively, so I'll be heading there to interview coaches and players. So I'll do my research, and it just so happens one kid I'm interviewing, I was at a football camp outside of Seattle last weekend, and met Mark Bruner, who played a long time in the NFL, who's a scout for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and his kid plays for the University of Washington, where he attended college, and his kid is one of the better linebackers in the country this year. And I will be interviewing him, just so happens. So I immediately pinged Mark, give me some nuggets that I can rap to your son about, some things off the wall. The football stuff, we don't get that. But I want some other things about the kid, things he enjoyed doing. And why did I ask this guy? He started sending me videos. He sent me about the longest text. Oh man, I didn't ask for a couple of nuggets. He got videos of the kids doing flips off the boat, a whole family portrait. Okay, Mark, beautiful family. But but we dig for things such as that, and you dig for relationships others might have with the subject, and some of the others are easy. Luke Bickle, head coach in Wisconsin, I played with Luke briefly, and so that's going to be an easy. I don't have to do much research on that deal. Others, you definitely have to get CBS research department involved and do your own as well.
This white commissioner first, in that conversation, we talked a little bit about visibility of non-Southwestern Athletic Conference in terms of access to television, whether it's direct ABC, the X-White Child Celebration Bowl, or ESPN, and ESPN Plus. I know that it's direct clientele that you all up against in terms of CBS, but just in terms of the business, can you talk a little bit, and I'll come back to the coaches from their perspective, of how important it is to understand the machinations of using these platforms, whether it's social media, whether it's direct to consumer in terms of the streaming platforms or over the air in regards to the top of the line, CBS, ABC, ESPN. Talk about the importance of understanding from an institution to coaches about utilizing this vehicle that you talked about to make it your friend, get your message.
Well, the huge variable is winning. The squeaky wheel gets you grease, right? And also, you win, we're going to follow you. And that's exactly what happened at Jackson State when Medina took over. First of all, he's got a personality that's bigger than this island. And so here's a guy that's going to bring the media. They're going to be in tow, some for nefarious reasons, such as what's currently happening. They don't want to see him win. Others, we want to see him succeed. And so the eyeballs are going to follow him no matter what. And so you have to win, though. And then you got to have prominent players. And this one thing about sports is there is no favoritism. There's a reason we keep scoring. And we're going to follow the team that's winning. We're going to follow the team that can light up the scoreboard, or a guy that's just a super athlete. They're going to get the attention. And, guy goes and runs for 300-400 yards. I don't care what school. We're going to showcase them. We definitely do that on our Tuesday show. That's what I love about the show. It's 2 hours since I college football. So we definitely look downstream and not just at the top tier Division I FBS. We look downstream and other divisions, and we highlight those performances. So that's number one, how you generate attention is that you win and you have prominent players who really turn it up in their particular sport.
Absolutely. A little bit to that, there's an opportunity that you partner with the university, Coach McDowell, and in 1876 Sports Foundation, in regards to a clip that has 5 episodes, internally done by source that partnered with the football program institution to highlight a couple of players that actually debuted yesterday. Talk about, from that same perspective, you recognize the importance of providing some level of access to your program. Because you have the old school coaching perspective, if you all know. And sometimes they'll close everything down, we don't get down there, and some of us doesn't choice work. But people will start resonating now, and they want that access, they want information. So the fact that you saw the importance of that, I would imagine, talk a little bit about what that's about, why you decided to set this listen for.
I'm part of the 1876 again. For me, it's about getting access to as much, for them to know as much about us as possible. And again, when they came to us about putting this document together, I was all in, again, it was raw, just, hey, just be you. And then once I heard that, I was like, okay, yeah, this is something I want to do, and as I talked to the players about it, just told me, just be mindful again, be you, but be careful what you say, and by them coming in, taking film from start to finish, from practice to office times to meeting times. It will just give you guys or the public this idea of what we go through on a daily basis, to get each young man up to par, not only just with, schoolwork, the classwork, but also with the coaching, with the individual coaching, the offensive, defensive staff, and the meetings that they have to go through. Kind of give out a broad vision like this. These kids are going from sometimes 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock at nighttime. For you guys to get a vision like this is what they do from day to day, and this is what they love to do. So it was very good to see that someone was coming in, even just wanted to the film was doing that, so like I said, I was all in once I, got the okay from the AD say, let's get this thing done. And kids love it, and plus again, it just gives the nation again what PV is about, as not only as a football team, but just as a campus life as well.
Yeah, and the name of it is No Script on the Hill. There's a wide receiver involved in this. So talk a little bit about your trepidation or your support of how that looked and coaching through that. I'm sure to some degree it could help maybe with recruiting about putting that out there. But what are your thoughts in terms of No Script on the Hill?
I think it's a great idea. Initially, I know you're talking about Chris Herring. Initially, I had to ask him, what are you doing? He got the camera with him 24/7. Chris has got personality out of his world. ADHD, but initially I'm like, the camera in my face all the time. I am sometimes. My adjectives get a little juicy at times too, so you gotta be careful. But it does give a bird's eye view of kind of what they go through. I think Coach made a good point that they have long days. The playing field ain't even as a college athlete. It's no thing you get a lot of perks, but the time commitment and those kind of things are a little greater than I think a regular student in some aspects. But it does give you exposure to the program, and I think that will benefit the university as a whole.
No doubt. As we get excited about this football season, I did want to shout out to the producers and executive producers behind this prayer. One is a recent graduate, and one is graduating this upcoming year. So all the production work was done by students that you're allowed to be a part of, and then behind the scenes and using and writing this together. So it was a concept of providing an opportunity for folks to kind of jumpstart their career at the same time. So I'm glad you all saw that. Tough question now. Let's get to that micro level. We'll start with you, Brian, in terms of what have you seen in terms of NIL, cost of attendance at the highest level, P4s, probably 4 or 5, it's kind of been there for a minute. NIL's coming too. Talk a little bit about how you've seen that change.
Well, the NCAA, especially once they allowed the Power 5, which is now the Power 4 autonomy, they were essentially rendered toothless. They have no oversight, pretty much, especially in football. They still are maintaining some control of basketball. But as far as NIL, it's a hodgepodge of legislation across the nation, which makes it difficult to rein in and direct guardrails. It's not being applied as it was intended. It's essentially pay for play. Now, as Bob and Richard are joking about us, yeah, we had NIL. It was just under him. Tell him what he got in my head. I got a little bit at UCLA, and I took a pay cut when I transferred to Texas. Because at that time, the Southwest Conference was in turmoil, and SMU had just gotten the death penalty. But it's not being employed as a sport. That's a big deal. And so right now, it's just crazy. Just between us in this room, I had our basketball coach at the University of Texas, Coach Terry, a couple of months ago, and he was just telling me these kids, Coach, both of you coaches were saying a moment ago, these kids come with their hand out. And there has to be a way for these institutions to push back. And there's some technology that I'm involved in now with some of my business partners that will allow you to do that. You got to measure how much work that player is bringing from on the field or on the court, and also their brand value off the field and off the court. And there's things that are being utilized in the UK currently that can be beneficial here. So we want to notice up the flagpole here. So that allows these coaches to push back some. Okay, you come in, you got your hand, you say you're worth $500,000. Well, let's plug you into our algorithms and see what it spits out. And it might be worth more, you might be worth less. And you may not get the committee, you might go somewhere else, so be it. But we have to somehow pull back and erect some guardrails. And I know it's going to be difficult, or at least give these athletic programs some type of way of challenging what these young men and women are asking for. And I think it's going to behoove them and their parents also to understand, hey, this is, you have to come in and produce. Everything's going to be tied to your production. And if we can have you in the NIL landscape, great. But first and foremost, come in here and produce. I'll give you an example. Jackson Arnold, starting quarterback at Oklahoma, highly recruited, big time recruited, 5-star, and doesn't play that much at Oklahoma a year ago. So we plug all his information into these components, this technology, and it measured sentiment, interaction, everything across all the social media platforms, also television mentions and things of that nature. And, it's flatline and pretty good here and there, but it really shot up and increased once he was named the starter for OU during their bowl game. So now that institution say, okay, you came here, you're a 5-star athlete, you wanted this amount of money, but from a brand standpoint, there's nothing here of note until you became our starter. So the University of Oklahoma, which I hate to say, it's a little hard, but we can, as an institution, can help your brand. So instead of coming here worried about the short term, what can you give me now? Let's think about the long-term play. And you'll get that money once you become a productive player on this football team, or some money, maybe not all you want. But first things first, come in here and produce for us, and you can see how your value will skyrocket being associated with this institution. So it is crazy. I talk to coaches all the time, and they, especially the guys that have been in the game for a long time, they're just struggling to wrap their arms around this new landscape, but with challenges come opportunities. Right. And so that's what we're working on here on the side, on my side hustles, is trying to help these coaches become more efficient, and with the risk that's associated with these recruits now, because of the amount of money that's involved, how do we minimize that risk? Because as a coach, you were talking about the recruiting, you go to recruit a guy, and you give him the top levels $1 million, and he doesn't pay it out. How do you explain that to your bosses upstairs? You can't just go and say, well, on 3 or 24/7, 5-star. That ain't gonna not.
Right.
No, you gotta give it a little bit more than that. So it's a new landscape, and it's fertile ground for a lot of different opportunities, but it's definitely a head scratcher for a lot of these coaches. And I'll end with this. It was interesting to hear Coach Saban, who of course just retired, a little rich on his part to lament the fact that now we're in this NIL landscape. When NIL came online,
That's right.
was the first coach to announce that his quarterback, Bryce Young, had $1 million NIL. And yet now he and Miss Carey is, these kids ask, bro, well, you broke the bank for Bryce and Bill Henderson Jr., whom we helped. We actually vetted all the NIL deals in the big part of that for Will Anderson Jr., who's number 3 pick of the Texans, just to show that what we did manually, we now want to automate so it can help a lot more people.
Love to learn new things.
Yes.
It's interesting to see how your machinations are not just in front of the camera.
No, man. I've always been a hustler. So I'm always looking. I got a couple of the things that we were just discussing out there with Senator West and Dr. McClellan that definitely are a fit for HBCUs because you don't have as many mega donors as the Division I schools. So there's a way for us to get everyone involved and especially help those players downstream. The second teamers and third teamers, not just the prominent players who are garnering all the NIL attention.
I appreciate you sharing that. And again, it gives us an inside glimpse from our side of love how we partner. And there are some mechanisms that come into my
Yes.
understand how to shift. Let's go to you, Coach Moore, and then we'll close with you, Coach McDowell, and then give a chance for some questions. In terms of that NIL, you kind of touched on this, in terms of the challenges and the dynamics of how it changes recruiting, particularly for certain positions. Talk a little bit about the micro level of what that means in terms of bringing folks into the team and moving beyond helping them to take advantage of it at the same time, building a cohesive team that you need to get that is prepared to do their part in the position holistically from the offensive side, overall from the team to get to what a lot of the fans want to do.
Yeah, was a lot to this NIL. Yeah, I think the first thing that a lot of, I guess, the high school level has to understand that they're at the bottom of the hole. So the opportunities are little to none. And I know at the bigger schools, the NIL going on as a freshman, you almost have to be readily available to play. Right? So it kind of is a trickle-down effect. So even now, the transfer portal is inundated with millions of kids. I say maybe exaggerated, but from the grand scheme of things, even at our level, we have to kind of go through the portal to kind of keep up with the winning, right? Okay, the guys that we really are after, a lot of the mid-majors, the mid-level schools are also pursuing, right? And if you don't have the financial backing, then you kind of lose out on that kid that you really want, that may get a few dollars more. We have a prime example of a kid that Coach Wheaton had, and we were going to bring in a varsity, a pretty big kid. Anyway, I won't mention the other school's name, but we had him on the docket, we brought him in on a visit, and he ended up taking a better deal for a little more money, even though he wasn't super productive. I mean, he had decent numbers, but he could have started here for sure. There he may be a guy who may get back, but the bonus was big enough for him to take care of the talent. So you kind of have to wiggle through that and work through different players and do the recruiting. You have to talking about homework as far as getting the right kid in here. And there's a lot of dynamics to it, right? And academically, it's been hard for us to kind of get the hours to transfer in for a lot of kids. So we're working through those kind of things. And I think collectively, we have to try to find a solution to try to make sure we're competitive. Because if you're not competitive, then they don't transfer the wings. You don't want to get left behind with that. So I think that's one of the biggest things that we kind of have to continue to look at. We want quality, it's good to sell, like I said, academics and those kind of things. You try to sell the big picture, but at the end of the day, like Coach Smith said, what we talking about, you know? So,
No, I appreciate you sharing it. It's important that we know the truth, what you have to do on the ground. And we may have a certain vision, part of that vision needs to be incorporated, but we need to know more. When we know more, we can be out, we can do more. So closing out on that, we heard from Commissioner Dr. Charles McCullough, he talked about adding those things up, and 30K was a number that came out there. I know there was some opportunity to get a quarterback. It kind of seemed like that they have been through national well, we didn't quite get it. So it's intriguing that those numbers add up and they all come to around the same thing. But Coach McDowell, talk a little bit about in regards to the next step. What can we expect from this season, from your team, based on what you've seen come together so far? You see the schedules up here. A lot of folks are ready to be excited. Talk to this group and those watching in terms of their expectations for this season.
Well, let me just say that I'm pretty happy with my coaching staff. These guys have gone out and did a wonderful job in the recruiting process. You know, be it high school, be it some of the commercial core guys coming in. We got probably about 5 guys from the portal coming in. Again, we had, because of, money situation. We've had guys that came in, again, like what it was about, like we were talking about, and I can say this, to you all that don't know, a lot of times before this NIL thing started, before we, before it became a big deal, we could just probably get a kid that we're recruiting, be it a transfer guy or a high school guy, and and they get on campus, and once we get them on campus, people will just say it's a whole new deal. Once we get them on campus, a whole new deal. We can pretty much close the book at that particular time. Totally different now with the NIL. Again, we lost probably about 5 to 6 guys due to more money at other schools. But just to say that, it's a process that, as the commissioner said, with Genie's not going back in the bottle, and it's something we got to deal with. But at the end of the day, again, just to piggyback off of what Brian said, look, it's here. We're not going to be able to compete with a lot of the bigger schools. Rightly so. Of course, Commissioner talking about the big dollars that they have, FBS, FCS, that we don't have the money to build, to give these young men. So we go out again, just basically, promise these young men a great education from a great university, coming in here, and win a swag, and possibly 3 championships with Western, swag, and on to the celebration bowl. We can get them to believe that, come in and play for us. We know that we're going to be okay. This year, as I said earlier, we went out and got some guys that we know for sure that's going to help us. We beefed up the D-line, I think for sure. Since I've been here 13 years, and I just had PV coaching Portland for a long time. But just here, PV, everybody, first time that we defensive linemen that we've had 3 back-to-back, where we can go 3 should I say, on the D line. And as you all know, you got to have a line to win this game. So we got some guys coming in that's going to make some noise. It's also helping with my secondary, which everybody knows that's been my biggest problem. That's been my biggest problem. We just, as I'm here. Again, we signed a dude from UNLV, Quentin Morton. We finally got him in from UNLV that we think is going to come in. As you all know, we brought back and we former PV alumni, bringing the chaos offense. And one thing I can say is that this guy is passionate. When KJ Black called me about him, and he said, "Hey man, you need to take this guy." And I said, "KJ called, and you can't say no." Right, so right away. And I was thinking prior to him calling, he said, I was looking at it, now he interviewed him and everything, and then when I saw that name pop up on my phone, I know what this is about. I said, AJ, we got it, man, like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and offer him to him. But, I love that decision, again, because he's coming in, he's making these young men, more accountable. I want to coach more on that offensive line and have, good receivers, running backs. We got an offense that I think is going to produce numbers. We're going with a lot of big guys. We got some tight ends in there, big tight ends. With the formation that we're going to be running, still gonna have some spread with it. But we I think for our biggest issue right now, I would say issue, but concern probably a whole lot. We got a lot of young guys up there that didn't play a whole lot. We graduated a lot of some studs last year. We got some guys coming in, old guys from the portal that's going to help us out. But again, they're here. The old guys are here again. We got to get that portal, to help some of these young guys that's going to hopefully gravitate to them. Learn a few things, and get better. So we can get back to this championship, not only Western, but, win this swag thing and go into the celebration bowl. So, again, we're on the right track. And again, we just continue to ask for y'all help and y'all believe in us and, support. One thing I can tell you, let everybody know, they love seeing you guys out there. They love seeing us stand. You guys may not think it's a big deal, but it really is. They really love seeing you guys in the stands, especially when we're at home.
Y'all heard it, so I'm booking my tickets to Atlanta tonight. Appreciate you, Coach. Thank you. Heard it fair. I can save a little money. With that being said, let's get into all three organizations. Before we do our final close, we have microphones. We have one at this table to our right, one up in the front. I think I've seen one in the middle as well.
Good afternoon. This question is for Coach Reginald. We hear different things about the athletic department and where we want our athletic department to be regarding nutrition, recruitment, and being competitive overall. In your opinion, what do you think needs to be done in order to raise the bar?
That's a great question. For one, I think support, as far as, it doesn't always have to be financial, but that helps us. But as an athlete, you like to see people in the stands. We talk about the TV games, which are great, but if it doesn't resonate with the fans in the stands and all that comes with it, and the whole experiences in there, I think it gets the kids, I guess, motivated to perform, right? It also helps football IQ, I like to say that. It's for fans too, when to cheer, when not to. Also some things, right? Cheer against the other team, be kind of quiet when it's our turn a little bit to do something big. So that is huge.
Particularly with the baby and things.
Yeah. Play with the other team, but I think that's major, like Coach Smith said earlier, Dr. Bill. It's good to get tickets, buy tickets and get in the stands. As far as nutrition and all that stuff goes, I've been at Power 5s or P4s, wherever they're called now, where they have an advantage as far as the training tables, nutritionists, whatever you call dietitians, whatever you call it, you have those. But it takes some approval money to get that going, And I was at Colorado before Prime got there, right? And I see the effect it had at Jackson and all those things. And I see what we didn't get to have in Colorado that he's now afforded the right to get. And it helps, And it just boils down sometimes to the financial support. It don't take everybody giving a lot, just a lot to give a little, So I think that would help us get
Well said, well said. And as we go to our next question, obviously you talked about KJ Black, that's our championship quarterback for the 2009 football team, that won the SWAC. They obviously, this receiver was Randy Weed as the offensive coordinator. Just for those that may know. Next question.
Hello, I'm Thomas, class of 77, and as a member of the class of 77, I think my favorite thing about the football game was halftime. For the 4 years. Well, my question has to do with when our team goes to play, I guess, one of those money games where we know what we're up against and what the outcome is likely to be. What do you tell your team when preparing for games like that?
Yes, I didn't quite hear the question.
She was just saying when you play in those money days, you play in FDS program. On our side, fans, they don't understand the financial component of it, and there's the perceived perception, bigger program that they should win. In a lot of cases, the stats pull it out. She was interested from a coaching perspective. What do you tell your team going into it?
Oh, man, I tell my guys, they gotta go and perform, bottom line. I mean, when you get a chance to play against a bigger team, bigger squad, more notable team, like we go to play, Michigan State this year, they gotta show up. They gotta show up. What happens, and you guys can see it all the time, we say it, we talk about it every day, you know, especially when we bring recruits in, and these same guys that on this, was a PP team, you know, or any other team, SWAT team or lower division team, they thought they should have been at a big Power 5 school. So I always say, hey, look, this is your opportunity to show that you should have been here. Keep it going, you know, and that's what I tell them. You gotta go out and compete. Again, play your football game. You know what to do, you know how to do it. Now you just gotta go out and execute. You know, I always tell guys, the reason why we don't get guys coming to, or not a lack of scouts coming to PV, because you got to put up the numbers. Once you put up the numbers, Brian was there, you put up the numbers, they're gonna come to you no matter what. I don't care who you are.
That's a great point, Coach, about the scouts. And I was asked after this past spring to coach, why weren't more HBCU passes? When you get those opportunities to play the big boys, everyone gets to see that film. Everyone's watching that film. They may not be looking for you, but they can find you if you show up, if you pop. And when we're watching and researching, I know for myself, and you guys as well, you're watching the game, you might be focusing on who everyone else or who has been the main driver of the success of the team, and someone else get popped. Like, okay, wait a minute, we're going to focus on this guy. Same thing happens when these NFL scouts are breaking down film. They may be looking for that Michigan State player, but that Prairie View player is whooping that dude's ass. You might need to take a second look at him.
Right, happens all the time.
All the time that occurs.
Every NFL team, our family directors get downloaded to their system, so they watch it, they see every
play.
Time for a couple more questions. I see we have the one in the front and then one in the front, back in the back, and then we'll come back to the second. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Phil Dawson again, 79 graduate per year. This thing is about money. If Prairie View got the money for football or any sport, the people will come there because you provide whatever is needed for each athlete to become more successful, because it happens in the Big Ten, it happens wherever money is. You gotta follow the money. So athletes are following the money. If there's no money, there's no fun. And so analysts on the other side, Brother Jones, tend to talk about athletes who are promoted to the media. If Prairie View doesn't hit the media, nobody knows about them. So analysts cannot talk about them. They cannot promote Prairie View. Hopefully, when we come with a winning season, Prairie View will, I know someday, we'll come with a winning season. then maybe we will hear more analysts talk about Prairie View and their athletes and their football players. What's his name? Deion Sanders was coming, I believe he was coming to Jackson State.
Yes.
Well, he went to Jackson State for a while. If we had some money, Deion Sanders could have been to Prairie View. Yeah. But the money was not there. We need to follow the money. And so alumnus, or whatever you call ourselves, we need to start giving back to our university because sports drives everything. And you need a winning team to make your school popular.
We're gonna get this next question is, that was more of a statement.
I was gonna let him know, I'll talk about Prairie View, I can be bald. I'm sorry, the money train with me. That's smart.
Get this last two questions in, and then we have to go to the next section.
Kind of go from 561, and for Coach Johnson McDowell, I'm concerned about where is the NIL money within the credit system. Could you break it down further as what we're looking at? Corporate sport, or we're looking at something that we can do here for alumni?
I'll answer that in the NIL perspective. One thing I want to make sure is clear. NIL has to come from outside of the university. It cannot be connected to the university, just to be clear with that. And NIL is a business. It can be corporate, it can be small, mom and pop, it can be in between. That organization, what they do is essentially think about it as an advertising commercial for a young man or woman. What you do is you find out the rate that you can afford in terms of your business, and you have to have a letter on file in terms of that student with the athletic department that say that you're going to get into this deal, but then you interact directly with the student in regards to saying that you might want them to post on social media about your business. You might want them to shoot a small 2-minute commercial that's going to be played on my streaming show, for example. But you have the right as a business to do that. So NIL is separate than maybe what you think about the cost of attendance, which can be a little more internal to the institution. So great question, but I want to frame that so we're clear of what that looks like. Last question, question in the back, and we'll get you in, I know you can wait. Please.
One quick statement, look, Michigan State can lose the PV just like they lost to North Dakota State. All it is the talent and the system, both can be, all right? Number 2 is a question I have a couple of my friends, and it goes to all athletic programs, volleyball, basketball, football. When we have kids that are interested, but they're from different areas of the state and of the country, do we have a portal that we can submit their videos into the dispense to the different athletic programs? So I got a friend in Chicago, a person that plays volleyball really well, interested in those HBCU. How do we as alumni, even though we don't know much about what you're looking for or whatever, how do we submit them in the portal and it's divided amongst you guys so that y'all can get a honest look at them during the summer or whatever, if they're really interested in the person?
I'll go with it. At 1876 Foundation, we can work with the coaches in the athletic department to set that up so there's a vehicle for us to transition, so we're not going one-offs between each coach demanding that type of time. We can get to each coach and get a framework of what they're looking for, what their needs are going into an athletic season, and then we can bridge that gap working with the athletic department to make that framework so we're not just doing one-offs and taking up valuable time such that we can make sure we get the information. So I'll take that up as a challenge myself to work with that group, and I'll leave it with you. Go ahead. last
I have a question about the Purdue Athletic Club. I received tickets for the past 20 years. Every year, tickets are sent to me. I don't know how my address got to them, but tickets I can really sell or purchase, and I only just purchase them and send it to the address. Who is running this club? Where is the money going? I don't hear anything, and I'm always saying, but I never won any of these prizes, and it started off with just one vote. I think the last time I received 3 or 4 votes. So I just put a check in the mail and sent it to the address. Who was running this? Where's the money coming? What type of funds is this club generating to help with the athletic program?
Ms. Jordan, if you would tell us about the appropriate way in terms of advancing, working through the process of where those checks, of what that looks like for you.
But it comes to me every year.
Okay. There are 2 types of checks you write, or 2 types of donations you get. One is restricted, one is unrestricted. If you want your contribution to go specifically to, that's not a question.
We don't have, that's what I'm saying, I was asking that from that perspective, as a person that's a representative. So I'm saying we gotta be careful in terms of control. Let's get this last question. We gotta go. Right.
I'm Rita Kelly from the Rita Kelly Bonds from the class of 1989. And my question is more to our high school students that are interested. I'm from Galveston County, and a lot of students in my county are dependent on sports. That's their ticket to be in. And so I see a lot of parents that are promoting and wish they start at the little league, those outside teams, and then once they get into high school, they're really pouring and allotted to their kids in hopes that they would get scholarships, but athletic scholarships. Some of those kids, and actually one of them happens to be one of my nephews, he's very intelligent, interested in engineering, interested in crazy. He's on the basketball side, but his parents are pushing more toward his athletics. And I heard somebody say they may not be the best. So how do you, and I've had coaches, I've seen my cousins that were really good in sports, and the coaches that used them, the high school coaches used them, didn't really focus on their academics, and then when it got time for them to graduate from high school, they didn't get to graduate from their high school. They had to go to alternative something to get their high school diplomas, and then the schools that were looking for them, they didn't even qualify to get into those big schools. So my question is, how do you all at the college level work with those coaches, and especially in these rural areas where the kids are hanging their hats, the families are hanging on their hats on these kids, give these opportunities at least to go to college and get the degree, maybe hopefully go to Canada or someplace else and play. How do you guys work with the coaches at those levels to really encourage them? Because I heard you say Prairie has student athletes.
Right.
How do you guys do that in that office?
Coach, great question.
Yeah, I mean, for us, again, when we are recruiting, basically our model is to go out every school possible. The biggest thing the biggest obstacle that we have right now at PV, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the SWAC schools are small, that we don't have like the FBS have. They have a whole separate department of recruiting. So they got maybe 2 or 3 guys just do strict recruiting. And they got a database that pretty much goes throughout the whole country, where we have coaches that do the recruiting and coaching at the same time. So saying that, we might miss on an athlete or 2 here and there. But again, it's not our fault. We're trying to get all the schools that we can within our area, within our recruiting budget, Because again, our budget's not as big as, some schools are, I'm just saying out there. So we can't go out and, pretty much all the time, throughout the improve. So we have to go out and come back in. We have about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and then once the budget allows us not to be out, then I have to bring these guys back in. But what I can say is, those parents that are very instrumental to their student athlete, their child, they have to be involved. They have to be involved. And what I can tell you is that continue to be involved, continue to send out these videos to as many email schools as possible. Everybody has a recruiting coordinator. Every school should have a recruiting coordinator. You guys send it to that guy, and then they'll send it out to the coaches, just like the wide receiver, he'll send it over to Coach Moore. Or if you have Coach Moore personal email, you send it to him as well. He'll watch, and he'll give his evaluation on that player, and he'll also come back to you and say, hey, Coach Buff, take a look at this guy. And normally, what my guys do, when they're out at the school, and I'm not saying everybody does it, if they like a guy right away, they send it to me like right then and there. So now, I may be watching 1 a day, or I may be watching 10 to 15 a day. Just depending on what my coaches are looking for, what they saw, what they like. But to answer your question, please stay involved. You gotta stay involved with your athlete, with your student athlete. A lot of times, nowadays, those kids will get brushed aside.
All right. So I wanted to close it out. We have to get to the close. I want to appreciate the Alumni Association for giving me this opportunity to moderate that. I hope you enjoyed the fact that we went from a macro, meso, micro dialogue at college athletics and its connected to the Prairie paradigm shift, understanding the new paradigm shift, business framework of college athletics. I want to thank this panel, Coach McDowell. Coach Brian Smith, Coach Lindsay, Vince, and women's basketball and volleyball. So with that,
What's it great?
Closing session says from 2:10 to 2:30. I just take 5 minutes to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I found out that we have a lot of birthday. So those of you that have birthdays this week, stand up and guys. So we start with there. Okay. Now listen, thank you all. This convention was set up on the theme of 4A leadership. Administration, that's why the chancellor is here. Academics, you heard from the grant. You heard from athletics and Tom Dawkins, his staff. You heard from the alumni. I already got one feedback, said more people can have breakout sessions so that we can give actions and go off and get this work. But trust me, I've been listening to all these different sessions. I already got action from Ross, I got action from the brand, I know things that we need to do. But listen, finish enjoying this conference. Most of the, matter of fact, all of them still be around. They are welcoming you to come up, ask them questions, to know more about their sports, know more about the university. And so finish enjoying this year, 46th convention. Don't forget tonight, we got the presidential reception at the D-Deck, and then we got from 8 to 12, the parent lounge, okay? That's gonna take place right here in the period, right here, so we're gonna be right here. So finish enjoying the convention, and don't forget, all day tomorrow belongs to you, okay? We won't get back started till 7 o'clock that night for the war. So you're gonna have all day sad before the wars. Let's give you some more time, okay? God bless you, God keep you, is my prayer. You are speaking.